Hello, we are Team Lisbon presenting our analysis project on Halliburton. I will now hand it off to John Paul, who will define the industry.
Hello, my name is John Paul Nadi. Um, I'm, I'm covering the define the industry part in our Halliburton company analysis. The analysis of Halliburton company is based on the financial performance of the firm. The revenue of the firm was approximately 14.4 billion in 2020. The revenue fell around 36 from the year 2019 due to the pandemic, which affected everyone and every company. The oil industry struggled in adjusting to the overproduction and demand decline. The company faced a loss in terms of profitability as the oil prices fell significantly in 2019 due to the pandemic. The company needs to boost financial performance by making more contracts with entities interested in oil commodities, because they want to catch up and increase profit. The 2019 COVID crisis resulted in the decline in oil demand. This aspect affected Halliburton along with other oil field service firms. The company also faced controversies and had to suffer from a major loss. The controversies have also contributed to the low revenue that has eventually affected the company as a whole. Also, renewable energies renewable energy has benefited from COVID-19 because when the demand for total energy tends to fall, the most reasonable sources, including solar and wind, tend to be preferred to fossil fuel. They prefer the energy to solar system to the fuel that we use. Halliburton needs to cover the loss and should focus on increasing sales by reaching both domestic and global customers. In this way, it can be possible to achieve the desired sales, the desired amount, the targeted sales amount, and compete with other companies at the global level. If you don't compete, you'll be out. The share prices of Halliburton also fell dramatically because of COVID-19, and that affected the shareholders significantly. The company must have strong emphasis on diversifying its portfolio and investing in different domains to survive difficult conditions. Also, the firm should aim to invest in digital technology to ensure its online presence and reach more big clients through online means. It can help improve the profitability and covering the loss. These days everything is mostly online. You know, Building your online what's it called portfolio profile can also help make it easier to reach out to the big companies or big customer, and put your interest out there to let you know for you to what's it called um get the attention of those interested in your product. I think that's what they should do. Thank you.
Halliburton, analyzing the structure of the industry. Industry structure analysis, a analytical viewpoint that allows businesses to plan and develop their corporate strategy by relating the company to its environment. Porter's Five Forces, a model that identifies and analyzes five competitive forces that shape every industry and helps them determine in the industry's weaknesses and strengths. Five forces of analysis frequently used to determine and identify the industry structure and corporate strategy. A SWOT analysis consists of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. With strengths, Halliburton is one of the most top three largest within the oil field company. Being one of the top leaders within their industry means that Halliburton has many strengths that allows them to thrive in the market space. Some of those strengths are Some of those strengths are LIEX automated drilling solution. which is an automated drilling solution that uses physics-based models to project the well path to avoid collisions, precisely steer, and manage vibrations and pressure perimeters. This allows real-time drilling center experts to monitor drilling conditions in real time, optimizing their drilling plan accordingly and make more informed decisions at the rig site. Through automated drilling, Halliburton boosts asset value through reduced non-productivity time, fewer rig site personnel, and lower cost per barrel of oil equivalent. Second strength is iCruise Intelligent Rotary Steer System. It's an intelligent rotary steerable system for fast drilling, accurate well placement, and reliable performance. This helps reduce time through fast drilling, fast tripping time, and quicker casing drills out. This accurately places the wells in the reservoir using precise steering capabilities, and reliable reaches total depth so you can drill longer wells on time and on budget. The iCruise Intelligent is also good for predictability and repeatable results, to plan and make decisions in real time. Precise steering and accurate well placement reduces risks and unproductive time. Lastly, the iCruise helps maximize asset value by landing the curve and reaching target depth while reducing risks and costs per BOE. Third strength is over 40,000 employees. Halliburton CEO Jeff Miller said, and I quote, "The biggest bets we make is on our people. The business has changed many times over, but our company doesn't thrive for 100 years without fantastic people." Fourth strength is that Halliburton is a major player in acquisitions. Acquisitions make up a big part of the oil field service segment industry. This is how companies expand their presence in the global market. Halliburton is a major player in that field and has a successful track record of integrating complementary firms through mergers and acquisitions. It has successfully integrated numbers of technology companies in the past few years to streamline its operations and to build reliable supply chain. Burns, Landmark, and Spearing Drilling are the following three top of Halliburton's more important subsidiaries that which help demonstrate the company's great history with acquisitions. Weaknesses. Here's where Halliburton can improve upon. Strategies about making choices and weaknesses are in the areas where a company can improve using SWOT analysis to build on its competitive advantage and strategic positioning. Some areas for improvement are Halliburton's financials. For 9 months ending 30 September 2021, Halliburton's company revenues decreased by 2%. Revenues reflect completion and production segment decreased by 2% as well. Drilling and evacuation segment decreased by 1%. Middle East, Asia segment decreased by 17%. Europe, Africa segment decreased by 8%. Financial percent ratios is the next weakness that we've got. The debt ratio, debt to equity ratio, and the interest coverage ratio percent for Halliburton are below the industry's average. Debt ratio for Halliburton is 0.76 with an average industry at 0.61. Debt to equity for Halliburton is 3.15, where the average is 1.07. Last, the interest coverage ratio is negative 0.18.17, and the standard is 1.22. Next is opportunities. For Halliburton, these external strategic factors can include 1. A bull run in oil. Since last September, Halliburton has been benefiting from the turnaround in prices since last September. Analysts believe that the oil is still undervalued and will see further gains in the OFS sector next year in 2022. This could be an opportunity for Halliburton to revisit over the next 2 to 3 years the company's past highs. Second opportunity, high oil prices. As structured global commodity stiffens, this will drive an increase in demand and for Halliburton services to be there to serve both internationally and in North America. Third, oil could continue to climb. The price of oil could keep climbing after OPEC opted against ramping up oil production earlier this month. Analysts at Bank of America predicted that crude oil prices could climb above $100 per barrel. Analysts at Goldman Sachs recently estimated that the global oil demand had almost entirely recovered from last year's pandemic-induced collapse and would shortly hit its pre-pandemic peak. The firm now predicts that the oil can average $85 per barrel and for at least the next few years. Again, this is another opportunity for Halliburton to apply their technology and run optimal and efficiently to generate profits from this demand of opportunity. Threats. While Halliburton is one of the top 3 in its industry, meaning that there isn't much threat when you are one of the big players playing in the major league. Then there is some general situation awareness that Halliburton should take as a possible threat. Political risk. Oil and gas companies tend to prefer countries with stable political systems and a history of granting and enforcing long-term leases. However, some companies simply go where the oil is, and even if it is a particular country that doesn't quite match their preference. Numerous issues may arise from this, including sudden nationalization and or shifting political winds that change the regulatory environment, depending on what country the oil is being extracted from. The deal of a company starts with is not always the deal that it ends up with, as the government may change its mind after the capital is invested to make more profit for itself. Next possible threat is geological risk. Many of the easy to get oil and gas is already tapped out or in the process of being tapped out. Exploration has moved on to areas that involve drilling in less friendly environments, such as on a platform in the middle of an undiluted ocean. Third, price risk. Beyond the geological risk, the price of oil and gas is a primary factor in deciding whether a reserve is economically feasible. Basically, the higher the geological barriers to easy extraction, the more price risk for a given project faces. This is because unconventional extraction usually costs more than a vertical drill down to a deposit. Last, supply and demand. Shocks are very real risk for oil and gas companies. As mentioned above, operations take a lot of capital and time to get going, and they are not easy to shut down when prices go south or to ramp up when they do go north. The uneven nature of production is part of what makes the price of oil and gas so volatile. Other economical factors also play into this, as financial crisis and macroeconomics factors can dry up capital or otherwise affect the industry, independently of the usual price risks. The last two are light threats, but two that should also be a factor. One, rising raw materials can pose a threat to the Halliburton profitability, and two, liability laws in different countries are different, and Halliburton may be exposed to various liability claims given the change in policies in those markets.
Agriculture at Halliburton. Halliburton is a multinational corporation that provides products and services to the energy industry. The company is led by Jeff Miller, who's the President, Chief Executive Officer, and Chairman of the Board of Directors. Mr. Miller began his career as an accountant with Arthur Andersen and moved to Halliburton in 1997. Mr. Miller served in various roles and was named the President in 2014, the Chief Executive Officer in 2017, and the Chairman of the Halliburton Board in 2019. The Board of Directors is comprised of 10 board members. The board also hosts various committees, which include the Audit, Compensation, HSC, and Corporate Governance Committees. The company employs more than 40,000 people worldwide and is headquartered in Houston, Texas. As with most large corporations, major decisions are made by the president and executive staff and legal counsel. As Jeff Miller said during an interview in 2017, technology is a tool to make returns, and it has to meet the customer's requirements by a gain in efficiencies or produce more barrels, and provide a return to Halliburton. Halliburton employs many strong research and development teams in several scientific and engineering disciplines, and they are responsible for the development of ideas and solutions to maximize the returns for its customers. Halliburton over the years has diversified through acquisition, adding to its knowledge base. Halliburton has invested in its newest division recently, Halliburton Labs, which is a collaborative environment where entrepreneurs advance cleaner, affordable energy. In return for the use of Halliburton facilities and labs, companies provide an equity ownership interest of 5% to Halliburton. Halliburton does not ask for a stake in intellectual property or patents. In February 2021, Halliburton welcomed its inaugural group of new companies to join Halliburton Labs. They include companies that transform plastics and bio-waste into clean energy to lithium battery recycling companies. At Halliburton, the internal and external collaboration of engineering solutions for its customers is a very high priority. In a 2019 interview celebrating the company's 100-year anniversary, Jeff Miller said, quote, We collaborate and engineer solutions to maximize asset value for our customers. We work closely with our customers. We're constantly developing new technologies, and we're driving towards our customers' goal of lowest cost per barrel of oil equivalent. End of quote. Halliburton uses many methods to collaborate both internally and externally with its customers. And most importantly, it holds a repository of 100 years of energy experience.
Hello, my name is Virgil Vargas, and I'll be discussing the five forces model and analysis for Halliburton. The five forces model includes internal rivalry, entry, substitutes and complementary goods, supplier power, and buyer power. The first force is internal rivalry. Rival industry firms include Schlumberger, Saipem, Weatherford International, and Baker Hughes. All these firms are part of the energy industry. The next force in the five forces model is entry. I noted that there is high structural barriers to entry, with a significant and extremely high amount of capital is needed to compete with industry leaders. There are very high startup costs, including leases for drilling and mineral rights, patents and copyrights for proprietary engineering and drilling technology, legal fees for abiding by governmental regulations and environmental compliance, as well as high fixed operating costs. The next force is substitutes and complementary goods and services. Suitable substitutes include nuclear power, solar power, wind energy, and ethanol. Complementary goods and services that the Halliburton supports include petroleum-based products, plastics, gasoline, and diesel. The next force in our analysis is supplier power. The main source of petroleum assets are from owners of land-based assets from which oil is extracted, oftentimes private property. This is significant because suppliers may attempt to extract economic rents from Halliburton through higher and more expensive oil royalties for access to land and drilling rights. Other suppliers include highly specialized drilling personnel, both engineers and oil rigs. Another supplier are the site-specific companies involved for the use in the delivery and transport of oil to refineries, as well as oil drilling equipment and services. These site-specific companies may also attempt to extract economic rents as well. The fifth and final force is buyer power. So the main buyers are oil processing facilities and refineries. Another buyer is the chemical processing companies involved for the use of petrochemicals, as well as the plastics industry, in addition to gasoline and diesel producers. Finally, I've listed a five forces threat summary on this slide. The threat to profits from internal rivals is listed as medium because there are only a few industry rivals who could steal market share from Halliburton, but there is still the risk that they could gain greater market share. The threat of new entrants is low because of high startup costs. The threat of substitutes is high because Halliburton is from an industry from which much of global climate change is blamed. The oil and gas industry are often targeted because of their impacts on the environment. Many activist organizations are seeking to replace fossil fuels with lighter and more sustainable energy sources that are better for the environment. The threat of supplier power is also high because private property owners could demand higher royalties for oil leases, and local companies could charge higher prices for their support services. Buyer power is listed as low because petroleum-based products, such as plastics and gasoline, will likely always be in demand.
Hi, my name is Kasey, and I will be discussing the strategic alliances between Halliburton and its competitors, suppliers, customers, and complementers. These alliances are examined in terms of the company's competition and its interactions that can enhance profits. This can occur among firms and suppliers who work to improve product quality and efficiency. Many of Halliburton's collaborative. In January of this year, Halliburton and Shell Technology Ventures restructured two joint venture companies, Adventure Global Technologies and Well Dynamics. This move was in an effort to more closely align the ventures with the near-term priorities in the core businesses of the venture owners. This move gives Halliburton 51% ownership and control of the day-to-day operations of Well Dynamics. This allows for more opportunities for Halliburton to leverage its existing complementary business and reduce cost and ensure global availability. This is just one example of Halliburton's cooperation on technology innovation and market introduction through joint investment. TechnipFMC and Halliburton have received an OTC Spotlight on New Technology Award for the Odessa subsea fiber optic solution. This is an advanced downhole fiber optic sensing system which ExxonMobil has selected as its solution for the developing project in Guyana, where Halliburton provided the fiber optic sensing technology and analysis for reservoir diagnostics, and TechnipFMC provides the optical connectivity from the topside to the completions. These are just a few examples of the opportunities Halliburton has capitalized on through strategic partnerships.
Hi, my name is Jose De Leon. Today we'll be talking about how does Halliburton specifically keep its competitive advantage against its competitors. The way I'm going to explain this is in two sections. First one is how do they keep afloat right now? As we know, with inflation being high, and the economy and the oil and gas not doing so hot, they have to be able to beat out some competitors. And number two is what are they doing in the future? Because in this economy that's not very good right now, it's going to go away. So if they don't keep up with the future, then they're not going to be in a company anymore, right? They have issues, right? So on the first slide, we see that to keep afloat, what Halliburton's doing is they're vertically integrating their suppliers, right? So from the top, they bring them in. That way they can control who the raw materials are and their costs there. It's super smart because this way they can control their costs up there and they can kind of keep an eye on the competitors. From there, they actually create a blockable entry. That means new competitors of Halliburton can't come in because they control the raw materials, or majority of the raw materials, right? And secondly, that is it puts pressure on their competitors because it limits where they can procure things. They have to keep up with their channels they have right now, and that if Halliburton suppliers are vertically integrated, if these competitors do want to buy from Halliburton can be picky about what they charge for them, right? All right, second piece of that is they're reducing the cost creation. They're reducing their cost by creating a joint venture with Microsoft. And by doing this, they're trying to do is get real data to that way they can explore oil fields a lot easier and better. Essentially, instead of wasting time trying to find different areas, using real data that Microsoft is really good at, look at that. The company is known for data. That's what they do, right? They can explore the oil field and find new areas much quicker and more efficiently than their competitors. Third piece of that is they're integrating the logistics. Originally, the logistics, the way their orgs worked is they have one org for the Americas, one org for Europe, and one org for APJ. Now, instead of having each org be different, they're actually going to leverage them and use them one style with North America, use that in all the markets. So all the learnings they have from North America's, America specifically, learnings, it can be used in each market and more efficiently. So they work much quicker and more efficiently. And that's what they're doing right now to keep afloat. So what is Halliburton doing for the future, right? And for this one, we're talking three sections. First things first, they're taking their economies of learning, and they're learning that instead of pushing out their new oil pumps right now, they're going to hold off pushing them out. And the whole point of this is that way they can ensure that all the other companies are bringing their sunk costs and their old technology and using it now, where Halliburton is holding it on for the future. And that way, when they burn out all their equipment, Halliburton is the one that has it back. So it's super smart because you force them to use all the materials, and you still have yours coming up pretty quickly. You can take control in the future. Second piece of that, they're taking on robotic automation. And the point of this one is when you have robotics automation happening, you automate your procedures. Specifically, what they'll be doing is they're monitoring expenses in the oil field. Instead of having a person out there monitoring what's happening in the oil field, they can quickly see what's going on with these robots and have them make the changes themselves. Instead of paying for someone. It's super smart, saves them money, saving the future. It takes time to develop those robots, but it's the right thing to do, the wrong thing in the long term to do. Now, third thing, they're leveraging their oil fields economics to scale to create a joint venture with a company called VoltaGrid. Right? What happens is it's funny because they're an old company with gas, but they're going to go electric fracturing, and you need fracturing in order to break the rock open and the oil and where they're going to go dig. But instead of using gas and using gas engines, which is what they're production, they're using electric. But what's cool about that is yes, they're oil and gas, but they're taking the dependencies away to electric and taking on tax savings by using electric. Super smart. So they create this full circle right? Of using environment factors for their advantage of it, and also show that case that yes, even though they're an oil gas company, they are looking to new ways to become more efficient. In this case, by using all electric fracturing solutions with VoltaGrid. Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Value provided to customers. Halliburton has several benefits, and first and foremost, brand reputation and recognition. Halliburton has been in operation over 100 years with well experience in asset development and consulting. They also have benefits that revolve around drilling services, formation and evaluation, well construction, completion, and control. So the whole gamut. In terms of drilling services, they have innovative tools such as the velocity perforating system. It's a gun system tool that minimizes equipment complexity and improves production rate efficiencies. Under formation evaluation, they have a tool that they've innovated called the Straight Examiner, a newly innovated tool that delivers high resolution images of reservoir structure to help operators obtain more accurate well data for superior potential production evaluation. Under well construction, completion, and control, they have the Decision Space 365 cloud app. This is just an AI or artificial intelligence that uses cloud-based automation to execute high-resolution reservoir simulations and modeling. Those are just several of the benefits that are included. They have several more that I don't need to list, such as the Spider Drive that streams live well data, the Sure-Through, which is an engineered flow assurance solution that maximizes transportation and production performance, and an acoustic conformance examiner, which is a service that identifies leaks around a well. These services and technologies are all innovated within their research centers across the world that make them unique compared to their competitors. Cost of the value provided to customers. Halliburton is a Fortune 500 company, so the cost of value revolves around its size, infrastructure, and innovative research. The cost to maintain over 50,000 employees, 16 international research centers, and operational infrastructure in 70 countries can be quite steep. So in summary, the benefits in relation to demand is centered around its century-old brand recognition and its technological innovation. Those innovations such as the Straight Examiner, velocity perforation gun system, and the Decision 365 AI all make Halliburton unique in comparison to its competitors, which increases the value of their demand. The cost in relation to supply revolves around its size, global infrastructure, and its research. If those decrease, the supply will follow due to a lack of demand in those areas. Halliburton value creation. Value created is the max willingness to pay minus the cost of making that product. Halliburton's positive value creation is due to its competitive advantage of having a 100-year brand recognition along with its technological innovations within the industry. This allows the cost of Halliburton's products and services to be much lower in comparison than the maximum willingness to pay by its customers.
So with the strategic position of Halliburton, they're already one of the top leaders in the industry, if not the highest level. They're going to continue to deliver a product that is affordable, reliable, efficient, and is able to serve the needs of their customers and clients. So they want to be sure that they are delivering something that is top quality. They've been doing it for over 100 years, and they want to continue to do that. And by doing so, they are in the international and domestic markets currently, with being in over 70 countries and employing over 40,000 employees at the moment. So for the recommended strategies, we recommend that they just continue to expand on that global market and put themselves in more countries so that they can get more exposure, create new jobs, and with those new jobs brings on those new employees, which they can invest into. They currently state that they're investing about 34 hours into each employee, but in adding more training, more education is only going to better those employees and keep them around. So they do, however, also state that they are very philanthropic, and just last year they did about $2.5 billion in philanthropy work. And so showing that they're not only a company that's, about money, but they also invest it into their communities, into the world. And so if they just continue to do that, it's going to keep them on top and be a reputable company going forward. Another thing that we recommend is advancing their technology and their equipment. With the ever-changing world of technology, they have to keep up and Right now, they're one of the leaders in advancing one-of-a-kind technology for drilling mechanisms, reservoir innovation, and by just advancing that, I think they'll also stay on top. Lastly, it's the Sustainable Energy Initiative, which a lot of people are very pro-environmental savvy. And so being that they are an oil and natural gas industry leader, they are heavily watched. And right now they are taking steps to be conservative, to make sure that they are aware of lowering their environmental impact, making sure that they are doing, low energy efficiency, being one of the leaders in that. And so they want to keep advancing that. They want to lower their carbon footprint here on the earth. And that's something that's to be very admired. One thing that they are doing, a new venture, is Halliburton Labs, which is a partnership or collaboration between Halliburton and entrepreneurs that are wanting to also be a part of this sustainable energy initiative. So having somebody as big as Halliburton take this giant leap to energy conservation and lowering their environmental impact, if they're able to put that onto smaller businesses and other partnerships that they do by providing that resource, showing their labs, facilities, mentors, giving the financial support that those other businesses need, it's only going to better their company. And so something like this, which isn't really spoken about, but it's going to be a new initiative that I think is going to be extremely beneficial for them. And if they stay on trend with the environmental initiative that they're trying to do, I think they'll be extremely successful going forward in the years to come. So this concludes our presentation today on Halliburton. If you have any questions or comments, please let us know. We'd be happy to answer them. Thank you for your time.